Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses, where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand, and some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
To the Personal Brand Accelerator program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding in many ways is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be? There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it. They're promoting it. They're blasting it, but they're not monetizing. They're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do. first thing you need to think about is being an expert. And what do I mean by being an expert? We already see what's happening where today, if you're not informed as to what is going on, the person next to you could have less experience, but if they're more informed, they will get ahead. And that is the knowledge truth. Keep in mind, there's now a digital economy. And so when you're trying to export your business, you're also exporting your story and you're exporting your expertise. Some people forget that sometimes you could teach your knowledge, your background, your story, and monetize that. So as an expert, the ones who are able to teach that information to their audiences, they get more partnerships, they get more marketing, they get more customers actually. And so I host like a lot of webinars online for free. I do a lot of videos, I do how-to tips. And so that expertise also builds my brand, which indirectly builds my business.
Grow up to be yourself. Start my day with what I want it to look like at the end. Before, when I was in that hustle culture mentality, I always said, like, I have 1,000 things to do, it's my checklist, and kind of went through my day just checking things off a list. But instead, I thought of starting my day with what is one thing that if I did today, I would be happy. And sometimes that might be, doing an important phone call or working on something for the team or a project or just being lazy. Right? But whatever I visualized that to be for the rest of my day, that was my main focus for the day. And it helps me prioritize so I don't get into this to-do list mentality. Grow up to be yourself, period. And so I always say to the younger generation, especially in this day and age where nothing's certain and change is a constant thing, you want to grow up to be the best version of yourself, period. And whatever that means, everything along the journey from when you're young to when you grow up, I wish people told me that, because if I realized it didn't matter if I grew up to become a doctor or a lawyer or entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. If I just knew as a young girl that you just need to be the best version of yourself, everything falls in life. Because as I grown up and I realized I started to embrace my personality, my quirks, my weaknesses, my strengths, everything that makes me unique, whether people love it or not, it's helped me actually to get towards what I really want to do in life. And I think we're all on this journey of self-fulfillment, and I think we all need to find that naturally. And the only way to do that is to be yourself, because you start to pick the roles and pick the opportunities that make you shine. And the only way to do that is knowing that when you want to grow up, remember that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Be yourself. My coworkers will definitely describe me as bold. I'm always like, oh, so this is the standard. Why can't we do this standard, right? Which leads to the second way that my coworkers, I have kind of like a little nickname, No Excuses, because I work really hard. I really put like 1,000% in a lot of things I do. And so my coworkers kind of like, it's very hard for them to come up with excuses as to why they can't deliver, simply because they know anything that I've asked of them, I've already done it. And I've done it 10 times over. So it's very hard for my coworkers to feel like, oh, it's just someone shouting orders. No, she's done it before, and she really expects that of us. I've also been told that I've been very vulnerable. I'm very open. I know people separate work and home life a lot, but I do believe that you're not just your role, that there's a lot of things outside of work that makes you who you are. So me being a mother, and me being a wife, me also being, a dancer and a free spirit, like all that leads into my personality. So they know like I'm quirky, I'm fun, I'm goofy. I'm also very on top of things, and all that, I expose them to all of that. And so it helps them be more open.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand. And some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Apologies for the delay. We have been really at odds here with the tech. And so, team, if we could just turn off the music, that would be great. All right. Awesome. So, welcome, everyone. I know it's been a long wait. There's been so much that has happened already so far, but I am just so happy that you guys decided to stick it out and you're here with us for the 7-day personal brand challenge. I'm really excited to engage with all of you over the next couple of days, next couple of sessions. And first and foremost, just some logistics and changes to the schedule. Originally, this was supposed to be a 7-day challenge from Monday to Sunday for us to have an engaging series to help you really turn your brand into not only a lucrative, monetizable asset for you in your future, but also help you find alignment in your career and strategize and map out how you want to govern yourself into the future as you make choices with your career in terms of business opportunities, work opportunities, life opportunities, to make this an opportunity for you to be able to map this out strategically. However, tech got the best of us. So much has happened. Many of you know what's happening with travels in the Middle East. I'm so happy to actually finally be able to be live with you all. And You know who I am. I am not going to cancel. I'm not going to stop because I've been excited for this series for such a long time because it's based on a demand and a request that many of you have asked, that you're tired of the fluff. You're tired of the nonsense when it comes to personal branding. You want a real conversation about reinvention, reignition, reset. This is a year that I believe many of us will look back and really, really question, okay, how to navigate in very strategic ways. Because simply put, things are not the way they used to be. Things are a lot more challenging. The world is a lot more unpredictable. So the only thing you can control is not only your time, your efforts, and your commitment, but the only thing you can really control is how you interact with the market and how you position yourself for what's next. Okay. So with that said, like I said, I am very much excited to join all of you for today's session. We're going to revamp the schedule a little bit, where part one will be today, where I'm going to go live for the next 3 hours. Okay. So session 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to go over what that agenda looks like. And tomorrow, spend Saturday with me. We're going to continue with sessions 4 to 7. So it's a condensed version. We're still having those 7 conversations broken down, but it's just going to be a little bit more condensed. All right. So if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm excited about this opportunity. As we stand right now, I'm not even on my own laptop. I'm committed to this conversation, guys. You should be really, really excited for what we're going to do today. So let me see if I could pull up the PowerPoint here so we could go live. All right. So first things first, I already shared with you guys some of the housekeeping already. Okay. In regards to the fact that, I just want to set that up, that, there is a lot that you're going to get. So originally it was supposed to be 11 a.m. daily. Like I said, we're going to do part 1, part 2 today and tomorrow. We do have workbooks for those of you who are engaged, and templates for those of you who are excited about this program. They will only be shared in the private Facebook group. So if you want access to the workbook group, comment workbook, and we will share the link with you for the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, for you to be able to get access to that workbook. The reason why we're doing this is because this group is also a community of other individuals who join this challenge. As you're working your way through all the steps that we're going to share over the next couple of days, next couple of hours, you're going to have a community, including myself, by the way. I look at every single response and update and post in that group. We're going to be able to help you and coach you and really just support you through this journey, because I hope that this could really truly be a conversation that really sparks reinvention, inspiration in you, and excitement for what's next, despite the world that we're living in. I always say that chaos is a lot of this, so much promise and opportunity that's going to be awaiting you. I hope you have an abundance mindset, and this group, this Facebook group, hopefully could be an asset to you along the journey of not only working with me during this 7-day personal brand challenge, but in beyond. All right. And of course, I will share with you, and this is something I want to share, the elephant in the room. Many of you have been on live sessions, not just with me, but just in general. The internet is now so mature, and I'm going to be really talking about the BS and nonsense of the world throughout the journey of this conversation series that we're going to be in. But many of you are savvy internet users. You have seen so many internet gurus and influencers do live webinars and masterclasses and workshops and boot camps for free. And then there's this kind of like bait and switch where at the end they're going to sell you something. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm going to literally invite you to work with me in a deeper capacity. That does require an investment, but it's up to you whether you want to take action or not. So I just want to share that with you, because I do believe that trust is broken. Things have shifted. And this is the only medium for you to have not only a deep dive introduction to me and how I do things and how I add value, but also gain clarity on whether you need the invitation that I'm going to provide to you at the end of the program, at the end of the session, or not. So again, let's address the elephant in the room, and let's make sure that I have your permission and your excitement to work with you for the next couple of hours, and that you receive me well when I said that there's always multiple ways to engage with me. And I do have a really amazing opportunity for you to go beyond this conversation and deep dive with me on a more private and intimate setting to work further on navigating, scaling, monetizing your personal brand. All right. So I just want to address those housekeeping items right then and there. Now, I already said this already. The rules of the game have changed. Many of you, if you're on this call, is because you're frustrated about something when it comes to personal branding. Maybe you are not able to monetize. Maybe you're not able to get visibility. Maybe you're not getting invites for speaking engagements. There's so many different reasons. And I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about those challenges in a couple of minutes. But I think we all collectively feel this. I think we all collectively feel frustrated with the state of the affairs of the world right now, and recognize that what we've been told that would have been guaranteed recipes for success has literally changed and transformed silently, if not, right? So the rules of the game have changed. Clearly what used to work don't work anymore. And the speed of change is so much that I'm really surprised at, the state of mental health of a lot of individuals today, because it's a lot to keep up with. And you got to be very decisive and have real discernment during this period. That's why I take it so very seriously when someone decides to join me for any of my live sessions, because I know you have multiple reasons to be in so many multiple different places at the same time right now. There's a lot tugging on attention. There's a lot weighing on your mind. There's a lot of decisions, financial decisions, family decisions, personal decisions, business decisions, career decisions that are colliding on a regular basis. So comment, feel me if you actually feel what I'm saying with you right now. I just wanted to connect on a human level here, because I know that things have shifted. And so to get to the point, I want to help you control one aspect of your reality, is how you position your reputation, how you build and craft your brand and your name. And today, because one of the biggest assets you're going to have for the rest of your life, from the day you on board to the day you die, is your name. And how that name is spoken in different rooms is going to change what comes to you, either abundantly or what comes out of your life on a scarcity mindset, right? And so I want to share with you that how you govern how your name is spoken outside these walls is going to really make or break not just your career, but your life. Because now so many things are so intertwined that we cannot separate business and personal. We cannot separate career, professional strategy, and personal, family planning and strategy. The separation is no longer there. Everything is colliding. And how you navigate this is really going to be something that's going to set you apart from your peers and the ones who are leading today. Okay. And so with that said, in the spirit of this energy of taking this chaos and embracing it and just accepting the change that's happening and getting you ready to step into a new era of yourself, because this is the Personal Brand Reinvention Challenge. I want you to step into a space where you see yourself and look at what has been challenging from a macro perspective that I cannot control, but it is affecting me individually, that I can identify and accept that even if it gets worse from here, it takes getting it worse before it gets better. But more importantly, I'm going to start to navigate and see what I can control. So here are some of the trends that many of you are clearly aware of that's happening right now. Is first and foremost economic instability, right? We know across the board, whether you are living in some rural part of Africa or you are living in the United States or the UK, economic spread and financial abundance, it's really tough right now, depending on how you look at it, right? So there's a lot of economic instability. There are crazy headlines in the corporate space. I just heard that Google just laid out 20,000 people just the other day, right? So people are also massively, who used to be in corporate careers for 10, 20, 15 plus years, are exiting in droves, not because they want to, but just because they're being forced out. So you have this massive pool of people who have to re-identify and reevaluate who they are in a market that is so tough to get jobs, but also in a market that is laying off people left and right with no concern or commitment to the human experience. Then you have this huge rise, and this is the reason why trust is broken, where so many opportunities to get gigs and monetize your expertise in so many different ways through gigs, but it's causing a lot of attention deficit disorder where people are just like really just overstimulated. So you have a whole generation of people who are entering the market right now forced into entrepreneurship, right? They probably didn't want to turn to entrepreneurship or start a business, but it's the only way to survive right now in an economy where job security is just at an all-time low. Then you have this added digital transformation. I mean, I know I struggle with the tech a little bit today, but remote work and consumption, like remote interaction and engagement, you could build a global brand literally within minutes, just from the comfort of your phone, your desktop, your home. And so many people are entering this space despite all the challenges. There is a trust recession, that the term that people are using right now, where people are just so skeptical of everyone on the internet, because people have been burned, things has happened, people have promised things that they did not deliver on. And we see that, that career strategy right now, real sincere career strategy at the fundamental level, is really hard to come by. So you see people are navigating all these challenges, trying to see who can mentor them through real perspective and real guidance, and finding it very difficult to do so, right? So with that said, here's a reality, right? At the end of the day, 71% of career professionals like yourself know that it's important to have a strong personal brand, because it does lead to career opportunities. That's something that we all know, right? When we think about the people that you're going to interact with, when you think about your personal brand and interacting with the market, to market your expertise, brand your expertise, to get paid speaking engagements, to charge for consulting sessions, to charge for digital products that you might sell in the market. 77% of consumers are more likely to buy from someone or a company where the founder has a personal brand. So even if you take an entrepreneur, right, where you start a business, if you as a person don't have a strong personal brand in the market, it really doesn't matter, right? And 84% of consumers believe a company's reputation is based on the personal brand of its employees. Many of you probably are fascinated by some of the biggest companies, Fortune 500 companies today, because when you interact with people who go there, you find them to be sharp, resilient, influential. And it's something that, we all know that personal branding really sets the tone for what we expect in client experiences, products and services, especially in today's age where the influencer economy is at an all-time high. And what I mean by influencer economy is not the Instagram baddies who are just smiling and doing their makeup online. I'm talking about the capacity for everyone to be able to come online and give real content that could really change someone's life, right? People are now following more people, more crucially, more than institutional pages right now, right? So there's a lot happening. But when you think about successful people who have done really, really well in today's economy, in today's market, in today's revolutionary way that we are interacting with each other as a society, look at some of the top entrepreneurs or influencers that you think about. If you think about someone like Richard Branson, right? He is the founder of Virgin Galactic. And that page has less than 250,000 followers, but him as a person has 41 million followers. Did you catch that? His business brand have less than 1 million followers, but him as a person, his personal brand, people following him as a thought leader, as an individual, is 41 million brands, 41 million people. Let's look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk, SpaceX, one of his most innovative companies. Many of you know SpaceX. 17 million followers, which is crazy. But him as an individual, across the board, 214 million followers. Personal branding. People are following him before they follow his companies. So as he navigates and makes new announcements, do new projects, do new things, or even reiterate the work that he's currently doing to accelerate momentum towards his companies, more people have eyeballs on him as an individual than the successful companies that he's put out there. Let's look at, sorry for the typo here, but Jeff Bezos, okay? He's not a big social media buff. We all know this. He's not someone that's constantly posted on social media. That's just a fact, right? Amazon, one of his most successful companies that probably many of you use on a regular basis, 28 million followers. Him, he has less, 17 million. But you can imagine for someone who barely posts, because I had to give this example here, right? Who barely posts on social media, is not someone who's on some thought leadership train on social media. People still want to track who he is as an individual and track his movements and how he goes about navigating the world. So I say this to say that when you make your personal brand a central opening gateway point to the world that you want to create for others, everything else becomes a vehicle to manifest the brand value you want to put in the world. So if you are someone who wants to be known for being innovative, entrepreneurial, and powerful by measure in terms of your insights, you could launch a couple of companies to be the vehicles for that. You could go work for a Fortune 500 company. That's another vehicle to do that. But at the end of the day, when you leave these entities, because on average, many people are staying at jobs less than 2 years. On average, many entrepreneurs are able to exit the company between 5 to 7 years. You're not going to stay at that entity for the rest of your life, but your personal brand is going to evolve. So this is a revolution for you to see that the world is moving towards this direction, where people are looking at the individual first before they look at any entities they're associated with. So you got to get with the program and reverse engineer how you introduce yourself in the world. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's talk about challenges, okay? Just want to update this, okay? I'm going to give you a moment to put on the chat, what is the biggest challenge that is inspiring you to be on this call today, right? To be a part of the 70 Personal Brand Challenge. Why are you here, right? And the biggest thing I will say is that when I talk to individuals, because I've been talking about personal branding for over 10 years, okay? Some of the biggest things that I've noticed with people, okay, is that if you are facing just pure loss as to where to begin when it comes to personal brand, comment 1 on the chat. Tell me if this is you. Comment 1 in the chat. You just complete loss. You don't even know where to begin. Comment 2, if you post all the time, you're on social media, you're doing what people say you should do, but you can't figure out how to turn your visibility on social media into a community that actually engages with you, buys from you, works with you, collaborates with you. Comment 2 if that's what you're doing. You're doing the work, you're posting, but it's not leading to anything. Comment 3, if you are out there doing all the things, but you're getting engagement. People follow you, people interact with you. You've done a great job to create engagement on your social media posts. Maybe people see you, people interact with you when you make announcements, but you don't know how to monetize it. You don't know how to really turn to the right tools to be able to do that. Comment 3, if you're overwhelmed. There's so many different dashboards and apps and you're tired. Okay. Comment 4, if you're just tired of the BS in terms of like, how does someone actually make money with their expertise? There's so much clickbait where people say how to monetize your brand, how to make money with your brand. And then you go on, you listen to it, and you didn't learn anything, and you're tired. You really want a strategic way, which is what we're going to talk about during this series, how to actually make money with your expertise. What do you actually do day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then some? Okay. How many of you are here because you just don't know how to organize and manage multiple ways that you have figured out how to monetize your brand? You don't know how to really control and navigate it to scale it properly. Comment 5. How many of you are struggling with just how to make your personal brand official? You don't know how to incorporate. You don't know how to be business minded. You're just confused as to, is my personal brand an entity? Is it just me? Like, how do I navigate that journey? Right? And last but not least, comment 7. If you just feel out of alignment, you feel like you're lost, you don't know what you're called to do, you know that you're out here, you have a purpose, but you just don't know where to channel that focus when it comes to your personal brand. If any of these challenges resonated with you, okay, I'm just looking at the timer here, just comment the number, just so I can see and gauge who's on the call and what you guys are looking at right now. Okay. And the reason why I bring these challenges up, because so many people along the journey of building and working on their personal brand have different challenges, and it gets them stuck at different points. And I'm here to share with you that all of these challenges will come to you at some point or another, but it's how you think about the solutions to navigate them, to make them actually turn them into milestones as opposed to challenges. Let me repeat that again. I want by the end of these 7 days, or the 7-day series, that you are able to turn these challenges into milestones of opportunity. And how do you do that, right? So in my Personal Brand Launch Academy, we go over some of these challenges, and we go through a series of in-depth workshops where live with me, I sit down and walk you through how to turn these challenges into actual solutions and execute into the market. So starting with those of you who are like, look, I'm lost, and I don't know where to begin when it comes to personal branding. The first thing that we're going to do, and we're going to cover some of these areas in the series, is finding purpose, right? How do you define your personal brand and clarify how you want to turn your unique strengths into steady income by identifying what it is about you that's unique. So for someone like me, purpose might be like, I want my calling to really help people navigate their career and their lives strategically through personal branding. So I found purpose in a calling and doing that because I've done it in so many different ways in my career and want to help others to do that, right? So finding purpose is, for those of you who find that as a challenge, this is the solution to that. For those of you who are just like, look, you're doing all the work of posting and engaging on social media, which is the information highway of the internet, what you're struggling with is positioning. You have not positioned yourself to post with intention and clarity for people to know how to work with you, right? So what you need to learn how to do is really build your personal brand strategically and turn your content into consistent cash flow by leveraging social media strategically. And I'm a big fan and proponent about not leading to burnout. You don't have to really post a lot of content. It's how you actually post and how you engage with your followership, right? For those of you who are like, look, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to turn to, I don't know what tool, you have a pipeline problem, right? You don't know how to actually grow your brand with the right resources. And what happens is that you overwhelm yourself by just finding the next big thing. You probably do this CRM and pay a monthly fee here, and then you do this other tool and this other tool, and you're navigating multiple tools. On average, I find that entrepreneurs have anywhere between 25 to 30 different SaaS products or tools that they're not even using to the fullest capacity, right? So you need to learn how to create a marketing system that drives visibility to conversion by really combining the assets that make you find a pipeline of people who are interested in buying into your expertise, whether that's your email, CRM, or website. Okay. For those of you who are just like, look, how do you actually make money? And I'm tired of all the mixed messages around monetization. This is where we have a product workshop. And this is probably one of the crucial tipping points of the entire journey of you building and monetizing your personal brand. Because until you have a product, almost everything else feels irrelevant. And I see so many people, they just start posting value, but they don't really have anything to offer to turn that value into actual lucrative income streams, right? So at this point, it's really helping you to monetize your brand and create a strategic plan. For those of you who feel disorganized, you don't know how to manage the experiments that you put out there in terms of really monetizing your brand through consulting, coaching, and courses, what you need to do is really turn the activations that you've done into a portfolio and manage your personal brand properly so you can maximize the visibility that you've already gotten and create a real delivery system that really helps you to scale. Okay. For those of you who's like, look, what do I do with my personal brand? I'm actually monetized. I'm actually doing well. I'm at the point where I want to scale properly and get more clients, get more partners, get more stakeholders, get more visibility. You're at the point where you need to really structure yourself and create a playbook to scale your personal brand. And I have a very unique way to help you scale your personal brand. We'll go over this tomorrow, but it's a really powerful and simple way to really get your brand out there to the masses and scale at a different level that you expected. And of course, if you're feeling out of alignment, because one thing that I will say, personal branding is a journey, and you're going to have phases where maybe you don't want to do coaching anymore. Maybe you don't want to do consulting. Maybe you do want to launch a course. Maybe you do want to start doing a signature mentorship program. Maybe you do want to launch a conference. There's so many different ways to add value in your community and monetize that value that every once in a while, at least once or twice a year, you should be evaluating your personal brand and assessing whether things that you're doing are in alignment, or maybe you're just not taking on opportunities that you should. Maybe you're thinking like, should I launch a podcast? Should I double down on my Facebook or my YouTube challenge? These are decisions that you're going to make on a regular basis based on the alignment and the reflection that you should have on a regular basis. And we have templates to help people really think about their personal brand as an asset that evolves to make sure that you are doing what you're called to do, but also what you want to do in that evolution of growth that really signifies your brand. So this is a journey that we are going to, again, turn your problems and challenges into milestone opportunities, because every single challenge when it comes to personal branding has a solution at every single point. And I will double down and say that some of you are struggling with really manifesting what I just shared with you, because we don't realize that to actually have a strong personal brand, you do have to have some skills. To build, grow, and monetize your personal brand, you do have to have a sense of mastery of communication, right? Right now, I'm building my personal brand just by communicating with you the expertise that I have in my head and presenting that to you in a format that you could digest. Presentation skills are a must. I have to also have, publishing skills. How many of you know how to communicate in written form your thought leadership through blogs, through posts, and other mediums? How many of you know how to market and sell? Okay, your expertise. Some of you are struggling to monetize your brand and your expertise because you don't know how to pitch yourself properly, right? How many of you are organized? You could project management your experiments or your products or the things that you do as an expert in the field. If you're a consultant, do you know how to manage a database of clients coming into you on a weekly, monthly basis, right? Do you know how to manage multiple projects? Like I have multiple projects where I have speaking engagement projects, I have partner collaborations, I have events that I'm hosting. Like I have a whole multifunctional portfolio of programs and services and activations that I do just with my personal brand alone, outside of the window of my multiple businesses as a serial entrepreneur. These are all skills that needed. So I want to emphasize that another benefit of this conversation that we're having is me helping you to practice the muscle of attaining the skills that you need to dominate in today's digital market, where building and growing and monetizing your brands requires you to have the mastery of language, communication, expression, marketing, and organization that could be applied across the board. I've seen people who have the strongest personal brands on the market. They're extremely disciplined people. Okay. And so you got to give it a notch. Those are people that you follow and have a strong personal brand. Check them out. You will see that they're very disciplined, very calculated, very strategic, very decisive. They practice what they preach. They're consistently showing up, something that 90% of people on the planet are unable to do. So even as we navigate this journey of getting the benefits of having a strong personal brand where you're monetizing and scaling and growing, there's a skill set, there's a muscle that you are forming over time that, again, will stay with you for life, that you could take into any endeavor that you take onto in your career, whether it's through a job, through a business launch, and so on and so forth. So I will tell you, my sharpness of skill set has expanded tremendously in my journey and pursuit of building and scaling and monetizing my brand. All right. So with that said, let me share with you why I think this is such an important conversation. And it starts with me becoming a mom. Now, I didn't really give you guys a background on my journey and how I've gotten to this point, but I will tell you that the moment my daughter was born, my firstborn, I'm now here sitting to you as a mom, and I'm just incredibly shocked at my journey thus far. Prior to having my daughter, you could Google me. I was featured on so many different media outlets for my entrepreneurial journey. It's successful, multifaceted company, crossing multiple different countries and genres, working with multiple stakeholders. And I remember the day that I got pregnant. I saw a lot of my community shift, right? I saw my employees question my capacity to scale the company. I saw clients start to phase out because, you're not really going to be available. Are you going to be able to grow this? I saw that I was walking into rooms where I could dominate just by the mere presence of my personality, just kind of fade out. I saw myself going to networking events and just being dismissed. It's as if everything that I built just completely changed, right? Because I was in alignment with my business. People knew me as the founder and CEO at the time of Venetti. And so because they could not see how I can manifest and grow that company as a first-time mom, I saw a lot of my relationships, both professional and personal, start to dissipate. Okay. I had a moment where I was close to the end of my term of the pregnancy, and I just felt so lost and just really down, right? Because I worked really hard to build the reputation that I did, to build the company that I built at that time, to see that it almost was blowing up in smoke because of the alignment people had with me and my performance with that company. And I remember I said, look, as I was just sitting there, I was like, you know what? Let me just go live and just start teaching at least the wisdom of what I've learned thus far and see where that takes me, right? Because clearly it's getting harder to get new clients. It's getting harder to pitch myself to new opportunities. My team is kind of like, overthinking this whole process, but let me just try something new here and just go live on Facebook and share my journey of building a business and hope that would add value to someone else. I remember when I went live, I'm never gonna forget this. I went live on Facebook, and I remember after going live, on the live, about like 2 or 3 people showed up. So not a lot of people showed up, right? But one of the call to actions that I had is that I shared an Eventbrite link where I'm gonna have a more intimate Zoom conversation about how to actually execute on what I share on that live, probably the next week. I remember, like I said, 2 or 3 people showed up. I still did it anyway. It was really great to share that wisdom, even if it was with 2 or 3 people live on Facebook. Came off, put the Eventbrite link there, and, went and had dinner, went to sleep, woke up the next day. Woke up the next day, and I remember on that Eventbrite, I was actually charging $20 per person. And I saw that I made about $240, and I was shocked. In that one night, a couple of people actually booked to hear me actually do a private Zoom session with them for 1 hour. And it was the first time that I actually monetized my brand, not externally through an invitation, through a speaking engagement, not externally through a brand partnership or any of the other ways that I kind of monetized my brand prior, but purely through me sharing my expertise and my journey in a vulnerable and intimate way. Fast forward to like a month later, I was generating thousands on a monthly basis just through Eventbrite alone. And that became the footprint for me to monetize my brand through coaching, courses, speaking engagements, and the rest is history. So what became in that time, what I thought was a setback was actually a leap forward in my career. I was able to obviously reemerge. And since then, my little daughter that you see here really helped me to navigate, because you gotta understand, now I'm like actually monetizing virtually from the comfort of my home to the point that I had 6 figures through an event. Okay. And hitting 6 figures through an event that I monetize, where I am the key person providing value and expertise, changed the game for me like never before. And now I'm happy to say that since that journey, I am now a mother of 4 beautiful kids. I don't want to get cry and emotional. I'm seeing this picture and it's like, wow, like I've come so far. But I'm a mom of 4 now. And I will tell you, every time I get pregnant, no one's questioning whether I could just kick ass. Okay. It's definitely a completely different expectation. One, I walk with a different level of confidence because I've been through this journey before. I'm at the point where I take sabbaticals now from my companies, from my team, because I do have functional businesses that could just do that now. But I have more control of my world and my journey and my career because of that first moment where I learned how to monetize and grow and share my skill set on my own terms, to the point that how I navigate life with this photo in front of me, moment in time, where I'm just so proud to say that this is where I wanted to be all this time, right? And so my hope for all of you today is to really look at navigating your personal brand on your own terms and almost looking at it as the best form of security and insurance for your longevity as a person in today's market. Because you have to understand, if at that time I had all these different fires to put out because of this shift, one major milestone shift in my life, my personal brand gave me visibility and gave me new momentum and new opportunities. And that's the beauty of having a strong personal brand. You're ensuring your future where multiple things can manifest for you at once. And that's my hope for every single one of you today and into the future. Okay. So with that said, I clearly learned the secret to unlocking the power of my personal brand. And at the end of the day, I believe all of you have a personal brand. Is relearn how to unlock it, to go deeper and really navigate the full potential of what you could become and what you can manifest with your experiences, with your journey, with your wisdom to the market. So clearly in my journey of getting to this point, 2013 is when I quit corporate to go launch my first company. That company scaled tremendously to the point that I made the Forbes list. It's now a business case study at Harvard. I was able to exit that company a couple years later. But in the path of such a crazy success with that first business, I was exposed to so many different entrepreneurs who were struggling to build and scale their companies. And I launched my second company, which is the Global Startup Ecosystem, with a mission of preparing entrepreneurs for the digital age. With our flagship annual program, we are the first to market with this digital accelerator concept where we accelerate 1,000 companies online every single year to help them launch their idea to market. Okay, strategically. And of course, as of 2019, I launched multiple other products and projects. I've launched tech summits. I've launched programs and initiatives with corporate partners. I've launched accelerators, government initiatives. I've been known as the personal brand queen, scaling and launching multiple brands across multiple countries, across multiple industries, to the point that when people Google me, it's like, wow, you have had a very rich tapestry of experiences in your journey as an influencer. Okay. And of course, I speak on multiple global stages in this journey of doing this and working and collaborate with so many different people and getting recognized for that. So I've been featured in multiple media outlets as a serial entrepreneur who really is just with momentum. And like I said, that 1 6-figure experience that took a build up to get to has led to multiple 6-figure clients, where my journey has really grown. My brand has not only accelerated personal growth and monetizable incomes for me personally, but it helps me to accelerate the businesses that I've launched and the initiatives I launched by leveraging my personal brand to add momentum and fire to the initiatives that I announce on a regular basis, where I can speak in front of thousands of people now and be able to convert those audiences into real world compassionate projects that I'm so passionate about. Okay. So to summarize about me, I have spoken at over 300 different conferences and other programs to date. I've been featured in hundreds of different media outlets around the world. Personally, for those of you who want to work with me in a personal capacity, I have signature programs that I do annually that bring 6 figures annually. And this is just like me doing this part-time. I do navigate between managing multiple businesses, but on a personal level, to be able to have 6 figures and above through these digital products is really amazing to see that growth. I've generated millions with my speaker career over the past couple of years. I've hosted multiple events. I've worked with some of the biggest brands, from Google to Facebook to the UN to the World Bank to IDB, all while doing the things that matter to me, which is growing my family to become a mother of 4 and a wife and an amazing husband, starting a farm, going on maternity leave, pretty much like, going sabbatical to really prioritize major transitions in my life, and even traveling to over 60 countries. So I really have lived an unapologetic lifestyle because I strengthened the power of my personal brand to propel me forward. And again, this is my mission, is to help other entrepreneurs and decision makers do the same. I want to help you unlock the power of your personal brand so you can navigate life with fulfillment, alignment, integrity, and enthusiasm. That's my hope for you along this journey. And so with that said, we are going to navigate a really amazing series where, at least for today, we're going to have breaks in between, obviously, but we're going to navigate starting with this first conversation with you navigating purpose, how to turn your unique strengths into steady income. Then we're going to go into positioning. Then we're going to talk about pipeline. And tomorrow, we're going to kick off with monetizing your brand and scaling it from there. So we have a very, very, very tangible, practical timeline. And I want you to think of this journey as I'm trying to give you the entire operating system to manage your personal brand from start to finish, endpoint to endpoint, for the rest of your life. This is not a cookie cutter conversation where I'm just giving you one part how to build your brand. I'm giving you one part how to monetize. I'm giving you one part how to do social media. I'm giving you the entire operating system to initiate, build, scale, monetize, and grow your brand throughout the duration of your entire career. That is a blueprint you're going to get at the end of this program through the conversations we're going to have through each and every session. So if you're ready to buckle up I want to again invite you to the Facebook community. I am going to share on the chat during the break for you to have access to that community to go live and really share your journey, your updates. But I want to again invite you, comment Facebook if you want access to the Facebook community group so we can invite you to join that group as well. So without further ado, let's kick off the first session. Now, mind you, many of you are aware that we did start off a little bit late today due to technical difficulties. So I know we're at the hour. However, I will pull break for the next session and we will have breaks. So you are with me for the next 3 hours, okay? So as we navigate, let's kick off with day one, where we're going to talk about finding your purpose. And this is really a crucial part, will helping you define your personal brand, especially in today's market. Okay. Now we're going to walk through the 7 steps here today. And today we're starting with purpose, which is how you're going to define your personal brand. Now, let me say this. When it comes to defining your personal brand and clarifying who you are and what you're known for and turning your unique strengths, and notice I say unique because not everyone's the same. 10 people might know how to write a book, but you still have different nuances about how you write that book. And that's what we're trying to navigate today. And the goal here is to help you identify your purpose identification plan, which is your PIN, in about 15 minutes or less. I'm going to help you navigate this journey right now. And the first step to doing that, okay, for those of you who've never done this exercise before, is really tapping into a hallmark strategy that Disney has done. For those of you who have loved all those ad age Disney movies like Lion King, Mulan, Pocahontas, Little Mermaid, all of them have the same story arc, which is called the hero's journey. And what it is that they always present to you an individual who is the star person that you're watching and following, right? Who at a certain point, they live in their life and they undergo a first major challenge that really changes that life. It might be detrimental, it might be crazy. But the point is that they have to learn how to overcome that challenge, grow, find new enlightenment, and be reborn again, a new person. Maybe they meet people along the way. But the point is that they're never the same after that call to adventure, to re-navigate a challenge. And many of you on this call have multiple challenges that you've navigated in your life and your career. And where personal branding starts, if you want to add value in the lives of others, you have to figure out where you added value for yourself and navigating life's challenges, right? So what I see people do here when it comes to kicking off their personal brand is they cite their accolades and achievements, the end goal. I'm a Forbes member. I've been featured in this outlet. I've been able to do this, but not what got me to that point. So what I want you to do over the next couple of seconds here is identify different challenges in your life at different stages, right? Comment and share 1 to 3, or you can write it down on paper. You could take a piece of paper and just do that right now. But think about some of the top challenges that you're navigating, because this is going to be the foundational components of what you're going to use to actually go to market to add value for others, okay? Give me those challenges, and I'm going to give you a couple seconds here to do that, okay? A couple seconds here to navigate that, all right? So go ahead and do that. And I'm going to put this here so I can have that. All right. So go ahead and share those challenges. If you have those challenges, think thoroughly with that. And then what I want you to do here is, as you think of these challenges, I could give myself as an example. One challenge could be, the first time that I had to, launch a company, didn't know where to start. Or it could be like, losing a parent. Right. It could be, what I shared with you before, like, navigating a transition, right? With when it comes to building a brand, building a business, and how to navigate uncertainty, right? These are things that come up when it comes to challenges in your career, in your life that you probably navigated. And you just need to identify 1 to 3, because each one of these challenges has a story that you could tell about how you navigated that challenge and what you did to overcome it. Okay. So that's the first thing I want you to do in terms of an exercise. Navigate and identify your hero's journey, some of the top challenges that you've navigated in your life and your career. The second thing I want you to do is really think about your brand voice, right? Here's what people usually do when it comes to, again, thinking about where to start with their personal brand. They usually cite, again, their accolades, that their achievements, this is who I am, this is what I've done. This time, I want you to think about how did you navigate those challenges that we talked about in the first session, right? Did you work with someone? Did you deal with it head on? Did you research? Did you partner? Like, what was a typical medium solution that you took to navigate those challenges? Again, using myself as an example, challenge number one was launching my first company, the difficulty of that. Challenge number two could be like, being the first in my family to go to college and not knowing what to do. That was the second major challenge that I had in my life. A third challenge that I had was really had to navigate moving to a new country and not knowing what to do. Okay. So with that said, when I think about that, I'm going to give you guys just like a couple seconds here to think about, how did you figure out solutions for those challenges? And I'm going to actually give you music this time to like give you just like about 1 or 2 minutes to do that. Think about the challenges and think about how did you solve them. And then we're going to talk about brand archetypes here in a second. Okay. Because what you're going to find is you started tackling a lot of your challenges in a similar way. Okay. So I'm going to use myself as an example here. For me, I always, when I first was going to college, being the first in my family to go to college, unfortunately, I got a full ride Bill Gates scholarship to go to an Ivy League school, which was Dartmouth. And again, I had no blueprint to navigate the journey of applying to schools, being in a school, just the whole 9 yards. So what I did actually was I was at the library every single day, to the point that every librarian knew me in the entire building. I researched everything I could. I almost became like, by the time I was done, I was counseling. Guys, I was counseling other people in my class on how to apply to colleges because I read almost everything. So mastery and commitment. So that's how I solved that. Same thing happened when I was navigating launching my business. I had mastery. I learned and applied it immediately. So I realized that, when you think about my personal brand archetype, a lot of people, when they identify and meet me, they say that I have two things: a hero mindset. I have a just do it attitude, like a Nike brand, or I have this kind of outlaw mentality where I learned how to do something and I bulldoze through it and I go at it like not how no one has done it before, right? So I realized that is my solution brand archetype. So when I speak in that voice as well, when communicating to others with my personal brand, it has to have alignment. So I'm not the type of person that's going to be docile and innocent with my communication. It won't be aligned with my personal brand, because throughout my whole journey, my persona and my personality has been very out there. Go for it. Don't give up. Leave your mark. Find mastery. Where there's a will, there's a way. Water can always navigate through any challenge, like literally just breaking through barriers. Then there has to be a brand communication archetype that fits that communication style. When people are resonating with me, I follow suit with consistency with how I express myself. So what you want to do during the next couple of minutes is identify what's your brand archetype. How do you communicate? How do you solve challenges? Because that's going to be how you're going to also provide value to others on your journey of building and scaling, using your personal brand to add value to others as well. Okay. Then what you're going to see is, okay, you see some patterns of your challenges. You see some patterns with your solutions, with your brand archetype. You're going to make a decision, right? And usually people have multiple interests. Maybe like, I could start teaching about how to apply to schools. I could teach people how to navigate entrepreneurship. I could teach people how to relocate to new countries, right? But there's going to be one challenge that's going to resonate with you, that's going to evoke action. That's the one that you're going to begin with, this journey that we're having this conversation about. The journey of kicking off your personal brand solving, okay? You're not limited to sticking with that challenge for the rest of your life, but right here and now you need to make a decision that you are called to solve this challenge for others, because you are able to navigate and do that yourself, okay? So for me, out of those 3 example challenges that I shared with you, entrepreneurship, helping other entrepreneurs succeed, was the challenge that I wanted to tackle, right? And that's what I went for the past pretty much close to 2 decades of my career. Okay. So with that said, this is literally a 15-minute to 30-minute exercise that you could do right now, which is step 1, identify 1 to 3 challenges that you have faced in your career, in your life, that really defined you. No judgments. Don't think that it needs to be a Hallmark thing where you went broke or hungry. It doesn't have to be something catastrophic, but it was challenges that you're navigating, because this is how you're going to relate to other people who are in this world. There's always someone who's 2 steps behind you that needs to hear and relate to someone who's been through a same challenge. So identify 1 to 3 challenges in your journey, and you're going to navigate and write down the hero's journey that you went through. How did you overcome it? Step 2 is you're going to identify your brand archetype. How did you navigate those challenges? What persona did you take on? And you're going to leverage that persona to communicate to the world in that format. So if you're someone who are a bulldozer like I am, you got to just do it attitude. That's how you're going to communicate to the world. If you're someone who is very chill and docile, you're going to take the dove approach to it. But you're going to identify your brand archetype and see the patterns of how you were solving those challenges. And in step 3, you're going to make a decision. Which challenge that you overcame, that you saw the solution, how you overcome it, and you want to bring that to market and help others to navigate that challenge, that's where you're going to make a decision on today to navigate with, okay? And that's the purpose. And what ends up happening is like when you have clarity and going through this exercise and doing this, you start to realize like okay, I know who I want to serve now with my personal brand. And you're able to do this one exercise, which is culminate to one sentence, define your expertise right now, right here in one sentence. Who do you want to help? What do you want to help them with, and why? So through this exercise, I was able to find clarity and figure out like, I actually want to help entrepreneurs to scale and monetize their business and their brands, because it will lead to fulfillment that I've seen before for myself that I want to give to them, right? So for me, I have my personal brand statement. This is an example. I help entrepreneurs to monetize their brands to create a flexible, fulfilled lifestyle, right? But you see, that exercise took 15 minutes of clarity. But now when I introduce myself to rooms digitally online, I'm very targeted with who I want to serve. And what that does is makes my personal, I just now up the value and ROI of my personal brand within seconds. Some of you are so scatterbrained, you don't realize that no one's taking you seriously because you're just everywhere. You're doing everything. But just because I found clarity on who I want to serve, what I want to do, and why I want to do it, because I've navigated all the challenges that I've built through in my life, and I figure out this is the calling I want to serve right here and now, I'm able to have clarity with how I interact with the market. That's what you need to accomplish right now. That's the first step of defining your personal brand, is finding purpose and calling by going through this exercise and figuring out, what have you been through? Why did you go through that? How did you navigate it? And how can you share the wisdom of those steps with other people? That is what's happening right now at this moment in time when you do this exercise, right? And so with that said, if we're thinking about now going into positioning next, which is what we're going to do for the break next, is that you're going to tie that purpose-driven evolution to now when you go on social media, or when you go on to an interview, or whether you get an opportunity to speak at an event, or any opportunity to showcase and display your expertise, you have discernment as to what you want to share. Because now you're able to have a reason to post. Because if you're saying that you want to help entrepreneurs, again, if this is my statement, I want to help entrepreneurs, a lot of my content and conversation is going to be centered around this target group to serve them in this way. I'm no longer scatterbrained with just posting random quotes and inspirational messages. I'm very targeted with what I'm saying and what I'm sharing openly to the world. And that's what we're going to go into the next session. We're going to take a break first, but that's going to be the next session that we're going to cover. So with that said, as of now, you have found purpose by finding clarity on who you want to serve, what you want to provide them, and why, by going through this exquisite, brief exercise to discovering that. You have found purpose now with your personal brand. Now you're ready to position yourself online so other people can interact with that clarity and have conversations with you. Okay. Now, with that said, I do want to again say that this is something that requires work. I do want to invite you to join me in an in-depth capacity. I'll speak more to this throughout the journey of this personal branding series. But what I find is that many of you will have the option to take what we're saying here and get clarity and alignment and just really eye-opening insight to be able to see where you've went wrong and the gaps you need to fill. Where I want to come in is like, okay, now that you have clarity on the gaps you need to fulfill when it comes to your personal brand, let's take some action. And you have two options to take action with me today. You can either work with me for multiple weeks to help you do this entire journey and execute on this entire journey from scratch over the course of 2 months through the Personal Brand Launch Academy. Or you could take the first step, which is what I'm excited to introduce you all today, where I'm going live next week at in-depth, intimate, where only less than 20 people will be invited for this virtual personal brand digital product workshop. And the reason why this is the first step that I want to take with many of you, because I realize unless you have a product to monetize, whether it's a consulting package, a course, a coaching program, maybe a speaking engagement, signature talk, you don't feel confident to navigate the market to do what I'm going to be teaching you over the next couple of days. So during this workshop, I'm going to help you actually launch a product that's going to generate revenue. You're going to make back the money that you spent for this workshop immediately. Where on day one, we're going to talk about monetization models that work, where I'm going to help you figure out the first monetization products that you need to. Because what people do, they tell you, here's 100 ways to monetize your brand, but they don't help you navigate to select the actual medium that works best for you. We're going to compare and help you figure out what's right for you and in what order. Because eventually you're going to have a whole product suite, but we'll help you navigate, help you price it, help you launch it, and really help you on day two structure our launch and be able to market that product. And because you guys are on this program, the bonus that you'll be getting live with me is also how to launch it. So that way you can start generating revenue with your expertise immediately and start testing the market as quickly as possible. And this is a really phenomenal opportunity. Now, with that said, because this is a live offer opportunity, I'll share the link on the chat for you to have access to this. You're not only going to get the recordings for this entire series, but just as we speak today, and this will expire tomorrow, first buyers could get access to this workshop for $47. Not because it's worth $47, but I want to stress that I want to eliminate any excuse that you have to invest in taking that first step to be able to actually launch and take what we're talking here today to the next level. Again, I am doing this workshop live, so we're going to be interactive. We're going to be doing this organically, in person, live, virtually. It is a virtual workshop. And then for those of you who can't make the virtual, you can obviously get the recordings. However, live is going to be what we're going to do next week. Okay. So this is a phenomenal opportunity. This is the price of a meal right now. If you go out to a restaurant, like a short, mixer, there's no excuse for you guys to make this investment. So if you want access to this, comment access, and you'll be one of the few people to have an intimate deep dive for us to do one thing, is get you to monetize your brand and launch something immediately. Okay. Now we're going to take a break and navigate and get ready for the next session. So during this time, look at your notes, look at what we covered in session 1 of the Personal Brand Challenge, where we talked about finding purpose. Some of you might take this time to sign up for the in-depth workshop so you could be able to take action, because I know there's a lot of insight that you already gotten from the first session. And then with that said, I'll come back on in 5 minutes or less to be able to engage with you guys for next. So go ahead, go grab some water, go take a break, stretch your legs, and we're going to come back and navigate today's session again. All right. Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses, where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand, and some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
To the Personal Brand Accelerator program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding in many ways is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world. Just try to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be? There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it, they're promoting it, they're blasting it, but they're not monetizing, they're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself, in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do. right, so we are back for session 2 of the Personal Brand Challenge. I'm sure a lot of you guys got so much to think about when it comes to the first session. It was definitely an eye-opening session for many of you. I already got some of your feedback. I saw some of the comments on the thread. I'm navigating between 3 different computers right now. So if you see me looking to the sides, because I'm trying to manage the feedback coming live on the feeds, live from Zoom and live from multiple different feeds right now. So I'm really happy to see that you guys are also interacting and giving questions and comments along the way. So we'll definitely do that because you guys will be the ones that I'm going to immediately react to. Hopefully in between breaks where I can, but also at the conclusion of today's series, I will be going back to some of the comments and giving feedback and reactions as well. But this is really, again, your moment of reinvention. Like 2025 is here to be a year of abundance and opportunity for you. And I hope that you receive this message and receive the energy that I'm bringing to you right here through your virtual screen to really take on this challenge and opportunity to reposition yourself for the greatness that you deserve to be, right? And so I'm so excited about session 2 because after session 1, just to recap a bit, we really navigated a real conversation around purpose and how to define your brand, so to ground you in why you even building your personal brand in the first place. I see a lot of people know that personal branding is important, but because they don't have a clear definition as to what they're trying to do, it makes it feel like just like a superficial endeavor that's based on ego and just clout, when it's nowhere near the conversation that we're having today. We're having really vulnerable, direct, practical conversations about how to position yourself in today's market in a way that represents your authenticity, integrity, and your expertise in a way that you feel most proud. Okay. So we're navigating now, moving from purpose to positioning, where you're now going to build your personal brand based on that purpose, that calling that we covered in session 1. All right. So if you remember in session 1, as stated before, we went through a very brief exercise to help you navigate thinking about the challenges that you have overcome in your career, thinking about how you solve those challenges, because there is a pattern to your madness that you have done, and then making a decision as to all the different challenges that you talked about in that exercise, which one really resonates with you as the calling that you want to serve right now to turn your personal brand to be just a reputation that exists to a reputation that adds value in the lives of others. Okay. So now we're going to navigate today into positioning. This is where you are now going to interact with the world with intention now that you have this purpose upon you and you want to market and engage. And I'm going to start with LinkedIn. I'm diving right into this. Okay. LinkedIn is a powerful medium. I know there's multiple different ways that you can engage online through social media, but for me personally, LinkedIn has given me so much in terms of speaking engagements, award, media features, visibility, to really add value to others because it amplifies my voice. I've launched every business and initiative on LinkedIn. I am even live right now on LinkedIn. So it's a very powerful medium to communicate and give your talents to the world in a consistent and strategic way. And I say talents because ultimately those challenges and solutions that you navigated in session 1 that we talked about, you are navigating, trying to decipher your actual hidden talent and trying to present that to the world. So for me, I'm obviously really good with strategic alignment and thinking and strategy when it comes to personal branding and career development. That is a talent. I've done it for myself. I've done it for people that I care about. So I'm bringing that talent to you. Right? That's why we're having this conversation. So LinkedIn is a great way to express and share that talent with the world. Now, what is the social media could give you? It could give you SEO visibility. Keep in mind, anything that you publish on LinkedIn stays on Google search engines for years. I still get feedback from articles that I wrote 10 plus years ago, 5 plus years ago. So SEO visibility is crucial. Lead generation, you're able to really host events like what I'm doing right now. You're able to do so much to build authority in a way that doesn't break the bank. It's free to do this to really add value to other people. And so diving into the formula of how to position yourself, we are going to go from the fact that we already talked about how to create a personal brand statement in session 1. And today, for session 2, we're going to talk about how to create a pitch call to action statement. Because once you identify your calling, what do you want people to do to work with you to tap into that talent? Okay. And everything you do in between is to reinforce This is what I do, my personal brand statement, who I serve and why I do it. And this is how you're going to be able to tap into this with my pitch call to action. So social media and email list building and cash flow and content and programs all becomes vehicles to reinforce my personal brand statement, which who I target and I serve, and what I want them to do to start working with me, which is my pitch call to action statement. So this is a cyclical thing that happens over and over and over. But what you see here is that I'm very targeted and very strategic with, am I reinforcing on a regular basis through my social media, through my emails, through my content, that I'm serving this audience and this is what I serve them with? And am I continuously repeating and telling them, click here to work with me, do this to work with me, do this to do this, do this to do that, right? Am I constantly reinforcing the action steps they need to take action to progress their futures with me being a mentor and a guide, okay? So a pitch call to action statement. So when I think about people navigating on social media, they create all this content, all these posts, all these different activities, but they never tell people what they want them to do at the end of it, right? So a call to action statement, similar to a personal brand statement, is clarity on something, all right? And for the purpose of this, is clarity on what you want people to do to tap into your talent. So I might tell people, follow my newsletter for weekly access to my personal branding strategies. Did you see that? So follow my blank, which is the channel or medium that I'm going to add free, consistent, open-ended value, for blank, which is how much value will I be given? Is it once a year, once a quarter, once a month, once a week? And what value am I giving, right? So again, for me is follow my newsletter for weekly access to my personal branding strategies, right? That's my call to action statement. Very simple. For some of you, it's like, follow me on LinkedIn for daily tips and tricks, or follow me. I've had one where she felt like she couldn't maintain a weekly or a daily schedule, so she said she could do a monthly for now. She said follow my YouTube channel for monthly master classes on how to build a tech startup in the Middle East. That was her call to action. And I thought it was so beautiful because it wasn't as frequent as I would like it to be. But what I like is that people always look forward to our masterclass. So every week she was marketing signups for that masterclass, and she did really well in converting people at each one of those masterclasses, doing very well, supporting people through their journey, adding really great value and feedback, and also being able to monetize that audience where they were able to work with her in a more intimate capacity after those monthly masterclasses. So you can see that this statement template could work in any different format. It's not something that locks you in or hurts you in any capacity. It's actually really quite simple to do that. Okay. Now, here's where I want to now take this back to social media. Now that we have clarity on the personal brand statement that we talked about last session, and now what you want people to do to tap into your talent, your pitch call to action statement, 2 sentences that you could do right now within the next 15 minutes. Again, I'm very simple with my approach. I'm not overcomplicating anything. You'll find that a lot of the advice I give you is organic. I never really paid ads to get traffic to my LinkedIn. And you can see my LinkedIn right now. If you look me up on LinkedIn, I have over 40,000 followers that I built up organically, right? So being very strategic with just having those 2 sentences already sets me apart from like almost 80% of the planet, right? Just being able to have clarity on those 2 areas. And it looks simple, but a lot of people find it very hard to find clarity and meaning in what they do and why they do it. So that's why you have to make a decision. And I'm forcing you to take that decision today. You don't need to overthink this. A lot of you already know what you need to do, but you just haven't made the decision. Okay. So those 2 things. So now I want to navigate to social media, where for those of you who have a LinkedIn profile where you've been navigating LinkedIn, maybe you have a great photo, you have a great banner, maybe your titles look great, but you feel like it's not doing anything for you. You feel like it's not really leading to any change, any opportunities, and now you're frustrated. Here's the secret I'm going to give you right now on how to navigate LinkedIn with these 2 statements that we just had a conversation about over the last session and this session. In today's digital age, the 5 things that you need to turn your LinkedIn into a landing page of opportunity, the tweaks that you could do right now, is 1, have a headline that articulates that you're worth talking to, that creates visibility. A lot of you have that you're the CEO of XYZ organization and no one gives a damn, right? that doesn't add visibility. But if you have the headline, which is the personal brand statement I shared with you on session 1, I help entrepreneurs to monetize and build their personal brands online. Now my headline attracts attention and creates visibility. Okay. Now, the next thing I need to do here is the about section. Here's what you people do with the about section. And I see this all the time. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to be doing live LinkedIn audits, so be prepared for that. It's going to be really exciting for me to do live LinkedIn audit. So comment on the thread if you want me to do a live LinkedIn audit for you tomorrow, so that way you'll be the first set of people that I will look at your LinkedIn and audit and tell you what you need to do individually to tweak and optimize your LinkedIn within minutes, okay? In the about section, people usually have a very generic bio that's in chronological order, and it's so boring that people are just like, okay, what do I do now, right? You want to tell the story as to what has happened to you, connecting the dots so you can build trust and relatability. And in the Personal Brand Launch Academy, we help people to re-edit and relaunch their entire bio story to a point that is so captivating and becomes magnetic. That people like, well, they're immersed in who you are and what you've been through and understand why you're doing the work that you do. Because ultimately, you want to use that section to introduce yourself and introduce yourself through storytelling in the way that, again, has a call to action for people to work with you in a certain capacity. So this is where you will actually put your call to action. In the feature section, you double down your call to action, but being very specific about what the call to action looks like. So some of you probably don't use your feature section. I've seen people use their feature section incorrectly. But what you want to do in that section is tell people how they can work with you. I know it sounds obvious, but people are overwhelmed and overstimulated. We don't like, you got to tell us what to do. If we got to press a red button, tell us to press the red button, not the green button. Like, even though it's obvious to press the red button, right? They're not going to know to do that until you tell them, right? So in the feature section, you're telling people exactly what to do with paid or free options. So for me on my LinkedIn, I have my consulting 101 booking link. I have my speaking engagement as a second one, and I have my free masterclass as one link, so I could generate new emails and new community members to get to know them in my community before I add value to them in certain capacities. Okay, so that feature section is now a level up and telling people what they need to do to tap into your talents. Okay, and then your experience section is telling people the proof, the traction, right? Testimonials, what you do. I see so many people put experiences with no photos or images or updates. So if you're telling people that you are an expert in personal branding, do you have a course on it? Do you have an entity on it? Do you have a coaching program on it? Do you do consulting on it? Put it in your experience section, okay? And tell people that you do provide valuable billable hours in this space that people could tap into, okay? And what I see here, 1 to 4 is foundational to be able to really position yourself on social media, especially on LinkedIn. Because what happens is that people position their LinkedIn as like resume accomplishments graveyards, where they put all the accolades, all the things that they've done, and they don't realize that they're repelling people from their LinkedIn page, as opposed to attracting people, because people come to your page and there's no value proposition for them to tap into. But with this approach, this takes like less than 30 minutes to tweak. You optimize your headline to say why you're worth talking to, put in your about section in a storytelling format and not a bio, generic bio format. Put in the call to actions in your feature section so people know immediately what to do when they come to your page. And then reinforcing traction in your experience section. Now people know what to do. So when you start doing number 5, which is activities, you're reinforcing the value proposition loop and the step-by-step process guide of how to work with you by doing live weekly webinars, by posting on social media, by sharing your newsletter. All these activities reinforce how people could tap into your talents in steps 1 to 4. That's really all it is. And that's how simple it is. Okay. And I have a whole checklist, comment checklist, if you want our team to email you or DM you the checklist I have to how to optimize your profile and more in depth. But again, this is a really great way for you to be able to optimize your LinkedIn profile in a way that really creates real engagement on your profile. Okay. Now, this is a short session in the sense that I want to also end by saying that it's really important that you think about, when it comes to social media, looking at your stats and analytics to see how many people are engaging with you. And some of you probably don't realize that LinkedIn actually tells you how they rank you. It's called your SSL Selling Index. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can find the link and share it during the break, where you could discover what your SSL score actually is. Okay, and be able to navigate that and be able to see, oh, this is who I am. This is how people navigate and talk to me on a regular basis. And so, what I want to do here is I actually want to share some screenshots of like how I actually apply some of these adjustments, okay, on my LinkedIn profile, so you could kind of understand what I mean by that, okay. And again, this is going to be a short session because I wanted to clarify positioning in a very unique way. But the point that I want to show you here is that when it comes to navigating your personal brand on LinkedIn, going back to this checklist, right? And really telling people, simply put, how to work with you. I can't tell you how many times people don't even know how they want people to work with them, right? They don't even have a way of saying like, oh, well, do I want people to know that I'm open for consulting sessions? Do I want people to know that I'm open for speaking engagements? And they'll put the title in their title page section, right? Where they'll put like, oh, here who I am, this is what I do. But it's still not enough for people to know exactly how to work with you. Like, is there an email? Is there a link for them to sign up? All those things are really, really important. And so I want to stress again that you don't have to overthink this process when it comes to positioning. It's really all about how to like make it very simple for people to understand who you are and how to navigate. Okay. And so with that said, positioning comes very simple when you're able to do that. I see a couple of you, please put your name in the chat, your full name or your LinkedIn link, so that way I could know, for those of you I'm sharing on the link, want to be able to get a full audit to for tomorrow, I could be able to do that. And thank you so much for the comments. Okay, yes, and yes, replays will be available, my dear, for sure. Okay. I'm seeing comments where people are asking for the checklist as well, which is great. So any questions on the chat? I want to now open up and see if I can navigate any questions. And I'm also going to now see some feedback and responses. So Elizabeth, welcome to the session. Happy to see you. She's joining from NYC, beautiful social enterprise company called Champion Suite. That's beautiful. And she helps scaling businesses and building teams across sectors with a focus on doing good while doing good business. She's currently expanding our mentor program to help careers flourish. That's good. So happy to have you here as well. So definitely, guys, send in your comments. I want to interact with you guys a little bit more because now I'm going to be answering questions, because I know during the first session, because of time constraints, I didn't get to do questions. And right now I'm going into questions before we go into break for session 3. Okay. Another comment from another user. I had to leave my home country when I was up top of it. This is a big one. For some of you are on this call because maybe you're navigating a transition. Maybe you got laid off. Maybe you're starting a new business. Maybe you're trying to try something new. And this has been a very challenging year that's forcing people to contend with things that they've been avoiding for years. So I commend you for sharing that vulnerability, that, that you've been in a position before where you were at the top of your career and then you had to make a drastic change. And how do you navigate that? And I'm hoping that you leverage your reputation to build credibility and rebuild momentum again, which is your personal brand. This is a great one. Elizabeth just shared, there's no blueprint for higher education, corporate career, global life, no network later as a single mom. This is a big one, right? As a single mom, someone who's navigating motherhood and balancing, it's really, really hard to navigate the journey of building your career and building your personal brand along all the different challenges that we all undergo as people, as human beings. And one thing that I will say, no matter who you are on the call, no matter what you are going through, when I think about, first and foremost, this conversation that we're having about positioning, what you want to do is get really good at declaring to the universe that you want to do this, okay? That you want to be known for something. And something magical happens when you make that declaration, where you start to attract opportunities and start putting yourself out there, start being consistent, and people start to really engage with you a lot more because you made that declaration to yourself and then put it out to the universe. One of my favorite quotes that I will tell you that really simplifies what your goal should be, if you want to figure out what's the end goal to your personal branding journey, is this quote that I'm about to say right now. Once your name becomes a solution, that's when you know you've won. Build your personal brand. I'm going to repeat that again. Once your name becomes a solution, that's when you know you have won. I hope that sinks in. Where someone say, well, hey, you're struggling with navigating your personal brand, you should turn to Christine. Where I become a verb, right? To navigate personal branding, career strategy, right? That's the goal you want to get to, where your name becomes synonymous with a solution to something that is someone's having. And these are conversations that are happening all over in rooms that you're not in, but your name becomes a solution. That's the goal you're trying to get to as we navigate through this journey. Okay. I see another comment here. This is from NK. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being here as well. She's transitioned. So she shared some of her challenges of transitions. And I think this is really powerful. Thank you for sharing. Transition from senior corporate into self-employment, navigating motherhood, marriage, despite obviously the demand and pressure. Lovely. Transition late into your career into another sector. Guys, you are really hitting the mark here as to why the connecting thread of your personal brand is so crucial. All of you in some type of capacity have navigated challenges, are navigating them right now, and you know that this is the connecting thread that keeps you going. So thank you for sharing those challenges. And what I like is, like, what you would do here is, what did you do in each transition? How did you navigate that? And that could be something that you could provide to someone on this call, someone in your community, and just you take off from there. All right. Let's see, who else do we have here? All right. So I see people are sharing the link. So thank you, Steve, for sharing it. So tomorrow, make sure you're on live, because I'm going to be auditing your LinkedIn profile. I got a second one. Guys, first come, first serve. So these are going to be the ones I'm going to be navigating tomorrow for the live audit. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate you doing this. Okay. Thank you, Alicia, of course, for your kind words that you get in a lot of this. And yes, there will be replays available. So any other questions or comments, feel free to send them on the chat. Because again, for some of you, positioning is hard, but the only thing you need to do is the call to action. Okay. Whereas session one, you had clarity where you're able to walk into a room and say, like, this is what I do. Now you're going to tell people this is how they could tap into you and work with you in a certain specific capacity. Hint, hint, for those of you who've never monetized your brand before, usually the fastest thing that you could do is a one-on-one consulting sessions are usually the easiest thing that you could put up on your LinkedIn profile to start monetizing immediately through Calendly, by the way. But we'll talk more about that during session 4 when we talk about monetization. All right. So with that said, now that you have clarity in this, we're going to navigate into the next break, because we're going to get ready for session 3 for today. However, I want to again invite you to this virtual live workshop that I will be conducting. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to take the first step. And again, this opportunity is crazy. I am providing you the opportunity to do this at a price that is not reflective of the value, but is reflective of the lack of excuses you will have to give to not take a step forward. As stated before, I really do believe that this is something that really will empower you and encourage you to take action as quickly as possible, because now you have something tangible that you could go to market. Now, for those of you, the last one, last time I talked about this, 2 of you asked the question, what if I have a product, I'm just not able to sell it? Still join, because maybe it's how you title that product. Maybe it's how you position that product. There's a lack of alignment. Remember what I said, there's a lot of alignment conversations throughout this journey where maybe you're selling something that people are like, this doesn't make sense. Why are you selling this? This is out of nowhere, right? So I want to make sure that we are having a real conversation. That's why I need a more intimate setting for this. A real conversation about your expertise, your challenges, your solutions, what you've actually overcome. So you create something that's in alignment with who you really are at this moment in time, and where you can add value in someone else's life, where you could be able to start seeing results financially, but also legacy-wise, where people are starting to know you for this solution a lot quicker. So that's the point of this digital workshop, where we're helping you to either launch something for the first time or for those of you who've launched, but you still are not struggling to get it really out there, help you to find real alignment and strategize to actually edit the title, edit the description, edit, like how you're promoting it on your LinkedIn. So that way it's organic and seamless. Again, I'm not someone who promotes constant burnout on content strategy, constant burnout on email blasting people and do all the things. There's really strategic, simple things that you could do to get something to market, to start marketing your expertise. And by the way, not even publicly. You could do this all privately. I've done this with people who had, here are some of the top things that people have said. Well, I only have like, let's say 1,000 followers. That's great. You need just probably like 10 or 20 people per month, to really interact with, to really convert and generate thousands. So that's one. I've had people say like, well, I've never really went out there to market. I'm very shy. You don't have to like, do a hokey pokey dance to get people to engage with you. You're just articulating, again, inviting people the same way I'm inviting you guys to join me, inviting people to an opportunity to work with you in a deeper capacity. It's an invitation that you're offering access to your talents and your expertise. And again, a third question that I got was, well, there's so many people in the market offering the same thing, but so what, right? There's many different people you can learn from about personal branding, but there's something about my background, my ability to communicate, my uniqueness that caused you to join me for these live sessions. And the reality is a lot of people don't realize that there's never enough players in the market to serve the audiences that are available to buy something. There just never is, right? There's always a place for everyone in a global digital market. And there's always someone who wants to learn specifically from you, maybe because it's your background, your gender, your height, your communication style. Like, you're going to always find your tribe of people who want to buy specifically and work with you because of you. And you got to take ownership of that. That's the point of this entire series, is navigating your personal brand in a way to leverage that to your capacity. Okay. So with that said, this is another invitation to join me. I saw a couple people already signed up. Congratulations. I'm so excited to see you live in an intimate setting during this program live next week. The link is already in the chat for you to navigate and join in if you haven't. But for those of you who already have, I saw a couple comment to the rank. You guys are definitely first movers and shakers. You definitely came in to take action. All right. So I'm really excited to welcome you all in this session. So again, this opportunity expires tomorrow, where it's going to double in price. I'll probably even double it today if I feel like I can meet my quota on 20, because I do want it to be an intimate setting. So that way I could do the live audits and revisions, because I am going to be editing your titles and really helping you navigate and do this properly. It's going to be a really powerful workshop for all of you to join me for those 2-day sessions. So with that said, we are now going to navigate into session 3 in the next 10 to 15 minutes for our break. And what I like about session 3 is session 3 is going to be a very powerful way to really put things into perspective for you. We're going to talk about how to grow your personal brand, what you need to do to get yourself out there, to position yourself, because this is the last missing piece that people usually need to do to really build their brand online, to get visibility, to start building an audience or a community before they start monetizing. And again, sweet, simple strategy. I never complicate this stuff, because I always say simplicity is the best form of growth that you could ever do for yourself. If you want to scale and grow quickly, do things in a simple, easy way. So that way that repetition gets you the momentum that you need and desire to really take yourself to the next place. So with that said, challenge 3, day 3, session 3 will go live in the next couple minutes. So I'm going to give you guys a break to be able to, I'm seeing more people are giving their links in. Again, the person who said, do me, I need your link, I need your link, I need your link. Yes, I will resend the link on the chat as well. Let me actually do that right now. I see some of you guys probably didn't scroll up to see the link for you to join me on that workshop. Okay. I'm sending that right now so you can have access to that. So, and again, congratulations to those of you who already joined so far, right? And during the break, you're welcome to obviously get up, get some water, but also you can ask questions and I can answer them first during the next session. So we're going to go into the last part of the session. Can you believe we've already been together for close to 2 hours? Time really moved fast, doesn't it? Right? So we're going to have one more hour on the clock. I'm really excited about this session because it's a great way to round up today. This is the foundational part of this journey for you to be able to talk about, again, how to actually grow your personal brand. So we're going to dive right into that. So let's take a break. I'm going to give you a chance to be able to obviously also, for those of you join in and sign up for the workshop. So my team is navigating and seeing who's coming through right now. And of course, you guys are welcome to just pretty much ask questions in the chat during the break. And I'll see you guys back here live again in about 10 minutes. So go take your break, come back, and then we're going to get started again.
Grow up to be yourself. Start my day with what I want it to look like at the end. Before, when I was in that hustle culture mentality, I always said, like, I have 1,000 things to do. It's my checklist, and kind of went through my day just checking things off a list. But instead, I thought of, like, starting my day with, what's one thing that if I did today, I would be happy. And sometimes that might be, doing an important phone call or working on something for the team or a project, or just being lazy, right? But whatever I visualized that to be for the rest of my day, that was my main focus for the day. And it helps me prioritize so I don't get into this to-do list mentality. Grow up to be yourself, period. And so I always say to the younger generation, especially in this day and age where nothing's certain and change is a constant thing, you want to grow up to be the best version of yourself, period. And whatever that means, everything along the journey from when you're young to when you grow up, I wish people told me that, because if I realized it didn't matter if I grew up to become a doctor or a lawyer or entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. If I just knew as a young girl that you just need to be the best version of yourself, everything falls in line. Because as I grown up and I realized I started to embrace my personality, my quirks, my weaknesses, my strengths, everything that makes me unique, whether people love it or not, it's helped me actually to get towards what I really want to do in life. And I think we're all on this journey of self-fulfillment. And I think we all need to find that naturally. And the only way to do that is to be yourself, because you start to pick the roles and pick the opportunities that make you shine. And the only way to do that is knowing that when you want to grow up, remember that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Be yourself. My coworkers will definitely describe me as bold. I'm always like, oh, so this is the standard. Why can't we do this standard, right? Which leads to the second way that my coworkers, I have a kind of like a little nickname, No Excuses, because I work really hard. I really put like 1,000% in a lot of things I do. And so my coworkers kind of like, it's very hard for them to come up with excuses as to why they can't deliver, simply because they know anything that I've asked of them, I've already done it. And I've done it 10 times over. So it's very hard for my coworkers to feel like, oh, it's just someone shouting orders. No, she's done it before, and she really expects that of us. I've also been told that I've been very vulnerable. I'm very open. I know people separate work and home life a lot, but I do believe that you're not just your role, that there's a lot of things outside of work that makes you who you are. So me being a mother, and me being a wife, me also being, a dancer and a free spirit, like all that leads into my personality. So they know like I'm quirky, I'm fun, I'm goofy, but I'm also very on top of things, and all that, I expose them to all of that. And so it helps them be more open.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
All right, so here we are. Let's get the music off, guys.
So we are on the final session for today. I can't believe we're already 2 hours in and we're in the last hour of the session. And many of you have given some incredible comments about your experiences so far, what you're learning, what you're seeing. So I want to continue to navigate those conversations into this last session. Okay. So with that said, let's keep the momentum going and go into session 3, where we're going to talk about obviously pipeline. Okay. So when we first began this journey of this challenge, we talked about how to redefine your personal brand by finding purpose, gain clarity on what challenges in your life that you have surmounted personally, that you could find a calling to give that solution and that journey to other people in your community. Okay. And then we got into positioning, where it's like once you have clarity on your vision, your calling, what you are good at and you've done already in your own personal life, then have clarity of how to communicate and attract those audiences, social media, using the step-by-step strategy I shared on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, which is why tomorrow we're going to be doing live LinkedIn audits. All right, so many of you put your profile out to be audited, but essentially a simplified way of turning your LinkedIn to a landing page where people know how to engage with you. And I said how I communicate is that session 1 is about finding your purpose and gaining clarity on what makes you great and unique and adding value to your brand. Step 2 is really how can people tap into that? So telling people how to work with you. Today, now for pipeline for session 3, we're going to talk about how to grow your personal brand. This is really centered around content, but really how do you leverage social media as an engagement platform in the first place? Because I do feel like people are using social media like a bulletin board and not really as a place to find their community and the tribe that they want to serve as personal branding experts in some type of field. Okay. So I want to begin this conversation with a Google study, because I don't think people understand in this digital world, we have democratized access to information, democratized access to people. So now more than ever, you can reach a global audience within minutes, which is extremely empowering. However, because of that, everyone at the push of a button can reach massive audiences and build global personal brands. You need to be very consistent about being present with the brand value that you could provide to others. Okay. So what that says, a lot of people don't understand this, is that the reason why you see even people who are in the game for a long time still show up consistently and with content value is because they recognize that if they don't do these 3 things I'm about to share with you, they're going to lose audience interest and not be top of mind. So in this Google study, what they found is that people now are in a binge mode. We are living in a Netflix generation. Again, right now we're in a 7-day personal brand reinvention challenge, right? That's 7 hours of content and information to empower you to get to one point where you came in to get to end result and an enlightenment period by the end of those 7 hours. During those 7 hours, you are getting to know me, you're getting to know my brand, you're getting to know how I serve people who have a challenge when it comes to monetizing, growing their personal brand, and you're building rapport. And you're binging this rapport by doing this journey with me through this 7 hours of content. So at minimum, in order for people to build trust now, because there's so many players in the market, someone needs to interact with your personal brand for at least 7 hours. Now it's up to you how long it takes for you to create 7 hours of content to engage with people. Are they going to engage with your personal brand, your LinkedIn profile, 7 hours across the entire year? Because maybe you post one webinar video once a month, so it takes them 7 months for them to get to know you. Are you going to do it over the course of 7 weeks, because every week you're doing a live webinar, and so people are getting to know you over the course of 2 months, and so they're like, hey, I like your content, now I'm building trust with you? Or are you going to do it over the course of 7 days, like what I'm doing right here, where people are binging over across 7 days and get to know you and making a decision? That's what we mean by 7 hours of content. Once you perform, people need to interact with you live, engaging, talking, showcasing who you are and what you do for at least 7 hours. Because we're in a binge society, people need to feel like they've interacted with you enough to do this. This is another reason why people are doing so well on YouTube and podcasts, because by default, they're automatically creating rapport with their audience in lengthy moments of time. Second, we're not talking about just doing 7 hours of content and videos and then boom, that's it. People are going to trust you. People also need to be able to interact with you in different ways. I do this really well in the sense that I'm doing this 7-day personal reinvention challenge, which I'm so excited about, which is why I did it. I have webinars that you guys can engage with. I have posts where I share insights and tips. I have my newsletter where I share information. I have my live events. People have touch points with me across LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, right? So it's really you understand that you're touching base in different formats, in written format, verbal format, audio format, video format, in different mediums, in short mediums like my 30-minute webinars, and long form like this one that I'm doing right now, in short form through a video post that's 30 seconds or less. People need different ways of seeing you, so you become almost omnipresent, okay? And last but not least, people need to feel like they see you in different areas. Some of you, in order for you to have gotten to this personal branding reinvention challenge, you had a touch point with me through my website, through my social media, through my email newsletter, through LinkedIn, right? There's different ways that I was able to engage you regarding this, right? A Google Calendar invite, right? So this Google study is a hallmark reason why you see so many people who are digital influencers or digital coaches, life coaches, are so consistent with content, is because they recognize that in order to build trust, and this is something that you have to learn to do too, in order to build trust with the market, you got to be hammering your value proposition over and over and over. And sometimes it requires repetition. I've been talking about personal branding for over a decade now, and I don't get tired of talking about it. And keep in mind, I'm talking about the same things over and over. Maybe I'm updating strategies and nuances for the public community, but the reality is I am constantly talking about personal branding consistently across different challenges. So personal branding and entrepreneurship are my two go-to topic pillars that I talk about on a regular basis, okay? So wanted to kick off with this study because so many of us overthink and feel like, yo, is it worth it to do another video? Is it worth it to do another content? Again, I'm not saying to do all of the things. What I'm saying is like, at least you know the quota and parameters that define people's capacity to get over the hump. The last thing I will say is think about your buying patterns and think about who you look to for mentorship and coaching and advice. Do you binge their content? When you discover someone new, where like maybe some of you, this is your first time interacting with me, are you going to continue to look at my other material? Are you on this session today for 3 hours or more and are you hooked, right? Look at your own patterns of behavior to understand how other people will grow trust and momentum with you as well, okay? So with that said, let's talk about creating a content mastery plan now. With that in mind, I don't advise that you just post a schedule of just random stuff every single day. And I feel like too many people say that. I think that you start with, first and foremost, making sure that we have our 2 statements ready to go, so that with that viral loop that I shared with you in the last session, I want to bring that back. This viral loop that we talked about is constantly connecting the dots for people every time they interact with your brand. Okay. So going back forward to today, your personal brand positioning statement is like, learn how to create a statement to attract your audience. This should be in your headline. This should be somewhere visible where people can see in your headline, this is who you are, this is what you do. Boom, it makes sense. Okay. Your call to action should be in your back section where people are like, oh, if they want to work with you, follow me for more advice through my newsletter and get weekly tips straight into your inbox, right? Get very, very direct and call and really clear on both of these statements. Make sure that this is visible on any of your social media profiles, especially LinkedIn, because again, it closes the loop cycle where when people are interacting with your content, when they come back on your page, they have the reason why they should be interested in what they should do. Again, closing that viral loop so people are aware of like, oh, this is what she does and this is how I could work with her. So if I see a video that I like, oh, she's open for consultation, she's open for coaching, she's open for speaking engagements. You're closing that loop cycle for people so people don't have to figure it out and move on to the next one. That's the first part. The second part, let's talk about creating content. And I always tell people the most important thing you think about when it comes to content is never have more than 3 content pillars, okay? Or else you confuse people. Some people only have 1 content pillar, right? But 3 is max. So for me, it's personal branding, entrepreneurship, public speaking. Those are the 3 thought leadership pieces that I talk about on a regular basis, right? So this is why I share my frameworks, my solutions 50% of the time.
30% of the time, I'm actually giving insight on how to navigate any challenges in these areas. So these masterclass sessions is a perfect example of content around how to address pain points to support you with your objections. And then probably 10% of the time, I'm sharing you guys my journey and marketing my products and services. And 10% is like my personal journey for you to get to know me, right? So these 3 content pillars are really crucial for you to stay grounded and not overwhelm yourself sharing random things and trying to see what sticks, right? Get to be known for something. But here's where the secret comes in when it comes to content mastery. As you're posting stuff, whether you post once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, or every day, you got to engage with people. And this is where I'm saying that a lot of people treat social media like a bulletin board. They post and leave, post and leave, post and leave, post and leave. And then some of you post and leave and watch to see if anything happens. You're all batshit crazy. Like, you can't do that. You can't post and leave and think that, oh, nobody's engaging with me and you're confused. Like, no, it's social media. You gotta be social. Look at your social media page like you're walking into a party and you're telling people who you are. You introduce yourself and then you walked out of the circle. It's like you walk into a circle and there's 10 people there and say, hey, my name is this and that. This is what I do. This is what I talk about. And as soon as you're done with your introduction, you leave the circle. And the rest of the people there, well, we didn't get to talk to you. You didn't say anything to us. Like, that's what you guys are doing on social media every single day. Post and leave, post and leave, post and leave. No, like, let's stop being rude and actually engage with people. So the secret to success that helped me grow my LinkedIn massively to the thousands that you see it today was essentially me taking 15 minutes a day to do these 3 things. 1, commenting on these 3 targets: top influencers, top industry leaders, and top potential clients that I want to work with. I always reply to all my comments. I always DM anyone who gets to know me, like, like joins me for the first time, right? Or commenting or liked any of my posts, right? I am at least 15 minutes engaging. As a matter of fact, if you want an added hack to blow your mind, I'm usually doing this 15-minute comment and engagement strategy. And this is authentic. I'm not just doing it as a spam bot. I'm actually interacting with people in my network because I want to network. Okay. All right. 15 minutes. I do that even before doing my post. It actually boosts the engagement levels on my post because LinkedIn sees that I'm interacting with people. So I'm live and engaging. And by default, because I'm engaging with those people, they're engaging with my content once I post, and just creates a domino effect. That's the secret. That's it. If any of the gurus are telling you, like, they want to charge you thousands of dollars to figure out the algorithm, you don't need to. This is it. That's it. Posting with content pillars that matter, that fit the scope of what you're doing, and engaging with people 15 minutes or less a day, right? Or several times a week, so that the platform not only knows that you're out active, but also you are creating energy and space and time with people for people to be able to work with you. Okay. We have a whole template library and structure for doing this in the Personal Brand Launch Academy. If you want more information about that, comment Academy for us, our team, to send you more. But the point is that at the very simplified level, all you got to do is post relevant conversations about what you're doing, what you see in the market, i.e. like what I'm doing right now, and then also interact with people that might need that conversation, right? So with that said, that is the part 2 to content mastery. And the last thing is audience cleaning. And this is a huge one. Some of you are posting and engaging in social media, but you're talking to the wrong people. You ever walk into a room, you realize you went into the wrong room, you got to go to the next one, right? Let's say you go into a building and they tell you to go to the 4th floor, room 408 is there. And then you go there and you open the room and it's another meeting taking place and you back out really quickly. Some of you, what you're doing is, even though you're in the wrong room with the wrong people, you still walk in and sit down and you're the awkward person in the back still talking. And people like, why are you in this room? Like, you're not supposed to be here. That's what you guys are doing on social media. You're talking to people that don't really understand what you're talking about. This is where you got to prune your audience. Some of you have LinkedIn friendship or connections from back when you were in college, right? These people are not your right target audience. They're not going to buy from you. They're not going to work from you. They're not going to be the right people in many different ways to work on what you're working on today, right? Some of you have people from past relationships, past jobs, past, projects. If you want to build momentum around your personal brand and attract the audience that you want to work with, grow with, collaborate with, you got to start being intentional about bringing them into your network. So every single week, I'm actually on a regular basis, weekly basis, deleting people that don't serve the audience that I want to target and work with. So for example, I clearly got a lot of student entrepreneurs from certain countries around the world during my tour, supporting students when I was teaching people how to be able to apply to colleges. So the mindset that they know me in is back 15, 20 years ago when I was helping people navigate the college admissions process. These are students, right? And a lot of times, I even had someone actually DM me the other day and say hey, are you still doing consulting on this? And I don't really. So I realized that I had to stop pruning those people because now that I'm talking about personal brand and entrepreneurship, there's a disconnect. So they will never engage on my content, let alone work with me in some type of financial capacity. So every week I'm deleting those people off, right? Off my network because they just don't fit my target audience, right? At the same time, while I'm pruning and subtracting people from my audience pool, I'm also adding audience members to my target pool on a weekly basis as well, right? And these are people that I actually do want to work with. So for example, I am constantly speaking at global stages around the world with institutional corporate clients. So I'm adding head of departments or leaders and decision makers for certain corporate institutions to my lineup because when they see visibility of what I do, they'll invite me to speak at the institution, right? Another audience lineup that I'm doing, people like you who are on the call who fit the profile people I want to work with, successful entrepreneurs who are building great companies, who have the investment capital to invest in working with me in a higher capacity. Those are the people that I've added to my LinkedIn profile as well. So I'm constantly audience cleaning and pruning my network to make sure that I'm talking to the right people because I don't want to be invited to the wrong party. And I certainly don't want to be in the wrong rooms talking to the wrong people about the wrong subjects. That's the reality. So if you look at social media, especially LinkedIn, in a very organic, in-person way, you will see how crazy you are right now with how you're leveraging it. And it makes things so much easier to navigate when you're able to look at it in that lens. Does that make sense? Okay. So I wanted to add clarity to that. So with that said, let's take a step back and look at it from a very personal perspective. So let's say you're Janet and you are here where you want to unlock your personal brand. You want to get to the point where your personal brand is where it's really giving you a return on investment. You want to get to the point where your personal brand be seen for your skills. You want to make money with those skills. You want to get recognition for it. You want to be in flow where you are in constant stream of abundance and opportunity because people have gotten to know you and want to work with you. So how do you unlock your personal brand? So today, let's say Janet is she's a marketing executive at a Fortune 500 company, or she's an entrepreneur who has a strategy where she wants to build her audience around her expertise in marketing. Okay. And she has a hidden talent for project management productivity too, but this is the talent that she has. So she's like, okay, what do I do to launch my personal brand on LinkedIn in the market where I could get traction that I'm looking for right now as quickly as possible? So she makes a decision to build a strategy. So in 1 month, she's like, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm going to focus on visibility. I'm actually going to do live weekly calls on LinkedIn and talk about productivity as a corporate professional or as an entrepreneur. And her goal is to get at least 100 people to sign up for each one of those tiers. So her goal for each one of those webinars is to get at least 25 people. Okay. So she's going to DM people. She's going to comment. She's going to engage. For that entire month, all she's doing is adding value and testing how her expertise is adding value to people. Are people saying it's insightful? Are people learning? Are people growing? 30 days is all she's doing. In 2 months, she feels confident enough to say hey, I've been doing these live webinars. I'm starting to get to know my market really well. People are really starting to give me really great feedback. Of those 100 people, I'm going to email blast them and say hey, I'm actually not taking consulting sessions, one-on-one consulting sessions where $250 a session. Sign up right here. I can only take maximum 5 people or something. 3 people sign up out of the 100 that's been through her webinars in the first 30 days. Amazing. She's now made $750 out of nowhere. Maybe a 4th person signs up. So now she's at 1,000. So she's hit her first 1K month, right? Just by engaging with those people who've been through our webinars and having a conversation about consulting to help them through some type of challenge. Okay.
After doing this, obviously she keeps doing this over and over and over. She starts consulting more and more. So now on her monthly calendar, her goal is to get at least 4 people every single month working with her on a one-on-one capacity for her to coach them, support them. That is her goal right now, right? So now on for the next 6 months, she's generating at least 1K. By the 6th month, she's like, look, I have now supported, let's say if you're doing 4 times the 6, she's supported 24 people at this point. She is now confident enough to say, like, you know what, let me launch a course or maybe a live coaching program where all I want is 10 clients, but this time I'm going to charge $2,005 because you're going to be more in depth. You put all your blueprints together. You are going live and really helping them take a next level career jump in their career. And at this point, she hits her first 10K month because now she's charged at a premium to have a certain level of people to come through. And mind you, at $2,005, all she needs to invite, again, 4 people. Out of the 24 people that she had, at least 4 of them might take on that opportunity. Now she just made her first 10K. In 9 months, because she's creating so much momentum, those people are sharing their stories. She's now maybe talking about it through more webinars. Maybe she's getting invited in podcasts. And finally, she gets an invitation at a local conference to speak about her journey. It's her first public speaking engagement gig. And she's looking at the year and seeing that, wow, just by starting with the momentum of creating consistent visibility, targeted visibility, she is now hitting 10K plus months in her consulting and coaching business, where she wants to now launch a business. She wants to leave corporate. She wants to do so many things, but she realized that all she has to do is keep showing up for people. And even if she scales it back, she knows how to be there for people and give them blueprints and strategies to take them from point A to point B as a marketer. That is it. Does that journey sound familiar? Does that journey sound simplified to you? That is literally all you need to do when you think about the journey that I'm sharing with you over the past couple of days. Is really having clarity and targeted goals every single month as to how you want to move to the next step of your personal branding journey and being consistent about it. Okay. Now, with that said, now that we're at the conclusion of session 3, tomorrow it gets real because we're going to have 4 back-to-back sessions in 3 hours, and we're going to kick it off with product, how to monetize your personal brand, thinking about strategically how to do that. With that said, so much has been shared today. I'm going to now navigate to questions and comments on the thread. I do want to again invite you all to join me for this amazing workshop that will be taking place next week, where I'm going to help you do this first thing, that example I gave with Janet, where she pretty much her first product was consulting one-on-one sessions. How she phrased it, how she titled it, how she went to market with it. She had to figure that out on her own over the course of several weeks. I want to help you to do that in 2 days. Okay. I want to shortcut your ability to go out there to market, to really monetize your brand. Once you have that product in place, it's a lot easier for you to navigate the rest of the journey in a way that brings clarity and actual momentum. We're trying to build momentum for you all right now. So if you're interested in joining this program, the link is in the chat for you to be able to do this and be able to have access to this opportunity. It is an absolute game changer. And I want to share the reason why this is such a great time to do this, because at the end of the day, whether you feel ready or not, you're going to have to figure this out. We are living in a market that's very, very relentless, that's unforgiving, that's changing so quickly, that you ultimately are going to have to figure out how to make yourself valuable in today's digital age. I cannot stress this enough. You do have to get out there and articulate to people in a clear and concise format who you are and what you do. And you cannot be attached to any entity, including your business, in order to do that. I have seen so many people get laid off and go through a period of depression, or maybe their business didn't do so well and they don't know how to define themselves because they get so attached to entities and not look at who am I as a person, that no matter what happens in my life, I can consistently add and provide value in. And that's where you want to navigate. And so with that said, this workshop is a gateway to kick off the journey for you and accelerate it for you by tangibly walking you through how to package your expertise into a tangible offer that you could go to market with today, immediately, in an easy way where you don't need a large audience, you don't need a lot of momentum, you don't need to start promoting, you don't need to do all the things that people tell you that you need to do. All you need is clarity that will show you how to create a title and a description that makes sense as in alignment with how you already govern yourself today, and start pitching it in simple ways to people who already know you, already watch you. And for some of you, you will pretty much make back the $47 within 24 to 48 hours. Like, it's such a easy way to make your return on investment. And this is my first time diving in and doing such an intimate, in-depth workshop like this. I usually only cover this type of content in the Personal Brand Launch Academy, where people can work with me over the course of several weeks, 8 weeks to be exact, and at a price point of $2,005. And people are signing up for that right now, because the next live open call for that starts in the next couple of weeks. Okay. But this is my ability to see, like, okay, when I look at, again, this procedure, right, of really getting your brand up and running and having this entire operational blueprint for your personal brand for life, where I see people get stuck is not defining the right product to go to market with to monetize. Some of you are not meant to be coaching right now. Some of you are not meant to be launching a course. Some of you are not meant to be consulting, right? Some of you need to truly identify the right product packaging for your expertise that makes it easier for you to navigate and consume and communicate with others, but also make it easier for people to make a decision with you as quickly as possible. And that's my hope for you, is by the end of this workshop, you're going to have real crazy clarity on how to do just that. And as stated before, the price point that you're getting access to this workshop is insane. Absolutely insane. So the bonus that expires in the next couple hours is that right now I'm giving access to that at $47. That will double to $97. Do not email the team. Do not DM me and ask me to go back. It's not happening. Okay. It is going to increase. Again, not because the value of it is worth this point. It's worth thousands, because again, I'm teasing this out of the Personal Brand Launch Academy because I've dealt with hundreds of people, and I've seen that this has been the area where they've gotten the most stuck. Okay. And I want to get you unstuck, eliminate your excuses, and get you to start really positioning yourself in a market that's getting more and more unpredictable. So you flex that skill set and muscle and add value and be known for something before you need to be known for something, if that makes sense. Right. And so again, this is my final invitation to you to be able to join, because it's going to be a truly amazing opportunity for you to be able to scale and monetize from this as a launch pad. I think it's an amazing entryway for a lot of you who are on this session who's trying to figure out your next step. This is the next and first step that you need to take to really have a deep dive with me intimately to walk you through how to do that. Okay. So with that said, day 4 kicks off tomorrow. So be ready for that. I'm looking forward to going over product launching with you. And then with that said, this opportunity expires tomorrow. So be ready to take action and really move forward. Now, if you guys have any questions, usually people are usually commenting and questions after the feed goes live. And I'm always quick to want to respond to those questions as soon as I see them come through. I want to thank many of you for being a part of this challenge for today. Part 1, how was it? Please give me some comments and feedback on the chat if this was very useful and helpful to you. I wanted to continue to double down on that into tomorrow. If there's anything that you feel I missed or any questions that you have, ask them in the chat. I'm going to be able to add value and respond to those questions as soon as possible. But with that said, what you want to do today here is really navigate and think about what matters to you right now, and the urgency, the absolute urgency of figuring this out as soon as possible, right? And again, for the price point that I'm inviting you to this live workshop offer, you're going to have the opportunity to be able to really look at your experiences in a more practical way. Because a lot of times we all know what we need to do, but we're not really thinking about how to do it properly and strategically. And that's what gets people stuck, right? And I want to get you unstuck, right? So that we can move along this journey, this operational system, and get to a method where you're able to monetize and grow and build a brand, build a reputation that you're proud of, build a legacy that stays with you and carries you into rooms that you need to be in, so that way you could create momentum for your career and by default accelerate the pace of your impact. And that's my hope for you. Okay. So with that said, I want to give you guys a warm welcome and final invitation to join me during that workshop. I will continue the series into tomorrow. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining me today. I definitely had an amazing time engaging with you guys all today. We covered so much content. Like, I'm like skimming through. I'm like, wow, like we covered so much today, and you guys are such troopers. This is the full lineup of what we're covering. So it's a lot, right? And this is all part of the full Personal Brand Launch Academy that I'm condensing down into 7 days to give you the blueprint to add clarity, inspiration, and open-mindedness, so that way you could see strategically, oh, this is the gap that I was facing. And some of you even commented that this has been very helpful to getting you to see where you were making the wrong turn, so you could get back on the right path. And so let's take action and move forward and dive into this even deeper. So I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow for the continuation of this, as I continue to fulfill my mission of helping you unlock your personal brand and really taking you to the next step of your journey with this program and initiative. So like I said, we covered a lot today, but more to come. Definitely you are open and welcome to join me again for the live workshop. I think this is going to be a very powerful experience for you. If you got a lot of momentum from today, imagine what you're going to have in a more intimate session where I'm able to edit your titles, descriptions, and help you really get out there and ready to go. So thank you so much. My name is Christine and Tim. I'm so happy to have joined you and supported you along the first half of the 7-day Personal Brand Reinvention Challenge. Looking forward to seeing you for part 2. Keep an eye out for emails and iterations on all you need to continue down this journey. You have the action steps right on your hand at this point. Make a decision, move forward. We are now in the midway point of 2025. If you didn't make certain decisions in January, in a couple of days, we're going to hit July. You want to make sure that the last second half of the year, the last 6 months of 2025, is exactly how you position and how you destine it to be. So let's make some powerful decisions right here, right now, with momentum, enthusiasm, and energy. And I cannot wait to see you on the other side of the momentum that you're going to create for yourself, your personal brand, and the legacy that you're going to build for tomorrow. See you soon. Bye-bye. Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses, where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand, and some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is, all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind you people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're